I didn't really give myself any time to do like an intro or anything, and we are running late, so we have to go in, but I'm gonna take you with me. I'm having one of those days where the kids didn't sleep. I didn't sleep like at all. I'm exhausted. I have a bit of a cold. To make matters worse, I'm on my period, which is great. I'm a little bit run down, but I guess today's the best day to go because you can see like I have quite a bit of crow's feet. I get a lot of like wrinkles. I'm getting a lot of fine lines and wrinkles around my eyes now that I'm in my later 30s. And I've been feeling like my cheeks are just really falling. Let's see what Jess will do today, what she'll recommend. I'm pretty open. I don't want to do threads. I've done threads before and I find it pretty invasive and I'm just not up for the recovery. So we'll see if we're gonna put a little filler, how much, and then we're definitely gonna do Botox on my forehead, here, and then of course here on my eyes. Okay, come along with me.
Hey guys, it is future Gabby here. It has been 3 months since that appointment and I came across these clips from the last time that I got Botox and filler done, and I just figured that now was the right time to let you in on all of the details of my little secret, which really isn't a secret at all because I don't feel any need to hide it. I'm really not ashamed of it. So I just figured you guys would like to be a fly on the wall, grab a coffee, come hang out with me. It's always interesting to see what other people do, how much they get done, what they get done. So since you and I are friends, we have such an amazing community here. Come with me to this appointment today. I also want to bring up something. I do look a little bit different now, and I have been getting some of those comments in the comment section. The biggest difference are my eyebrows. Biggest and probably the only difference are my eyebrows, and the reason my eyebrows look different is because I'm actually getting them lasered off right now. I am just like really tired of them looking so dark and so like overly done. So I decided to get tattoo laser removal. They are permanent. They were permanent brows. I also brought my camera with me to that appointment, and I'm gonna be doing maybe 2 or 3 sessions of that. I'm gonna be making a whole video about that. So if you're interested in permanent brow or permanent makeup laser removal, then you'll definitely wanna stay tuned because that video is gonna be coming out in the summer for sure after I get my second session done. But my brows are quite different now. They are just much less dark, much less defined than they were before. And I found that when I did that change, it kind of changed like everything about my face, which is wild. So that is why I look different, if you are wondering. I also look a little bit different because that video was taken 3 months ago. 3 months ago in Canada, it was like very dead of winter, and now it is late spring, so it has just started to really warm up. Since I am Brazilian, I like change colors. I am so different in the summer than I am in the winter, so just wanted to clear the air about that in case you were wondering. But first, I need to introduce you to Jess. Jess is a nurse practitioner who does all of my medical aesthetic treatments. I've done Botox, filler, PDO threads, like I mentioned earlier. I've had a vampire facial done and a hydrofacial all at her clinic. She owns a beautiful clinic called Bonita Medical Aesthetics in Southwestern Ontario, and I love her so much. I highly recommend that you go see her if you live in this region.
I never ask any questions about my Botox because you're my beauty fairy. How many units do you do? Where do you focus it? What's the tea?
So the units are really dependent on what areas we're treating and the severity of either existing lines or the strength of the muscles. That's what sort of helps to guide us on your dosage. So for you in particular, you get 20 units between your forehead, so in your what we call the glabellar complex. Yeah. You get 12 units kind of sprinkled along your frontalis, which is your forehead muscle, and then we do 8 units on each eye. So that's not a high dose, it's kind of middle of the road, a little lower around the eyes, but it's enough to kind of keep the muscles relaxed to prevent lines. Yeah. and just keep your forehead looking smooth. So we want to balance, we don't want a lot of heaviness with the muscles being relaxed, right? So we want something where you're looking smooth and relaxed, but also animated. We want you to look natural.
Yeah.
So you're preventing the natural aging process from getting those lines eventually that inevitably will happen if you're not using these types of products.
Yeah.
But also trying to balance it not being too heavy. So yeah. It's a nice dose.
It's perfect now. I feel like what we have now is like It's
Right on.
mint. Yeah.
Bang on.
So here's my evolution with Botox in a nutshell. I was getting more units done before, and I was finding that because I'm in my late 30s and I'm still young, I was looking a little bit unnatural in some of my videos. Botox and filler can be a bit addictive because the more work you get done, you start to get used to how you look, and then you want more and more improvement. You can very quickly lose perspective on how you look, and truthfully, you can start placing way too much importance on it even. So Jess is not the type of injector that will let you go crazy with it. She has actually said no to me several times in the past when I wanted specific things done that were unnecessary or were just too much. But last summer, I really found myself bothered by the fine lines around my eyes. So I asked Jess to put more units there, and she did. And even though it looked completely fine on the outside, like no one said anything about it, I found that I just didn't have the expression that I wanted to have. And I didn't realize that I even wanted to have it until I couldn't have it. I have a very expressive face, and when I smile really big, my eyes squint a lot, and that's literally how I express joy. When my eyes couldn't squint anymore, I felt like my eyes weren't exuding happiness, and I wanted my kids to experience their mom as an expressive, warm person. So since then, we started reducing the amount of units that I use here, and I feel like I'm in a great place now where I still have loads of movement and expression without the deeper set lines. If you are someone that is starting Botox for the first time, I really suggest that you find someone like Jess who isn't just there to make as much money as humanly possible, and who will be honest with you. Having that honest relationship with your injector where she will tell you when something is too much will ensure that you stay looking your best and you don't start looking like a plastic doll, unless of course that's what you want. And I mean, I'm not judging anyone for what they want to do, but I really wanted to have like a very natural, expressive face, and Jess was really able to give me that. And when I ended up going too far with it, she was also there to stop it from getting way too far, and then to talk to me about it when I felt like I did ask for too much, and then we could retract a little bit and make it more natural so that I can still smile huge, I can still squint, I can still like frown, I can still do all the things that I want to do with my face.
And you sometimes can get like 4 months out of your Botox, so you've done really well.
Yeah. Like I could even go longer, like when I'm not, like I can move my face, but when I'm not moving it, it's not like all starting to, you know, because when you start going longer, you start to see the lines even when you're not moving them.
For sure.
But I like to maintain it.
Yeah, for sure.
I've had both Botox and Dysport done at separate times. Botox and Dysport are both neuromodulators, so they are both wrinkle relaxing injections, but they are a little bit different. Dysport is a smaller sized molecule which diffuses a greater distance in the muscle, creating a softer and more natural look. I find that with Botox, I look more frozen, but my lines are completely gone. It takes a little bit longer for it to set in, but I also find that it lasts a little bit longer. With Dysport, I have more natural movement to my face, but the lines are still greatly minimized or even gone. I do find that it doesn't last quite as long, but the benefit for me is that it looks more natural for sure.
So the goal with the little tiny bit of filler that we're going to put into your cheeks is to help with facial balancing. So, you know, this fat pad that we have right over our zygomatic arch, which is our cheekbone, it just starts to flatten over time. That's normal. And so then the face starts to kind of fall obliquely this way. And so we get some heaviness in the nasolabial fold. Sometimes we get some flatness in the apple. So what we want to do is put a little bit of product ever so carefully just over top of the bone itself, and then anything that's left over we just put in the corner here just to help with lifting.
I find that whenever you do this, my eyes look so much better.
Yeah, and that's what's funny is that a lot of people will come to me and say, oh, I need under eye filler, right? They'll say, oh, my under eyes are so hollow, I need my under eyes done. And I tell them, I'm like, actually it's not that at all, it's your cheeks. And you know, I have a few clients that weren't believers until after I did their cheeks, and they're like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
you're right.
It's made the biggest difference out of anything I've ever done, for sure.
The cheeks support the under eye, so if there's pull down on the cheek and the under eye is not supported, it's always going to look worse. And you know yourself, with the way light hits the face, it's going to gravitate to the darkest area and actually pull down and cause it makes the under eye look a lot longer than it needs to be. So it's worse because of a bit of an optical illusion, but once you replenish that volume loss, it's just beautiful. And then everything looks chiseled and lifted and pretty. And it's all about facial balancing. We expect to have some lines, right? As we age, we want to have some lines.
Yeah.
Just not too many.
Yeah. So, can I ask a question? I heard that filler doesn't all dissolve. Would it ever like fall and create like weirdness here?
So sometimes it depends on the type of filler that you're using. Of course, you want really high quality filler.
Yeah.
And you also need to make sure that it's injected correctly, because if it's not injected in the correct plane, you have a higher likelihood of things shifting. But filler migration is a real thing. It can happen over time.
Yeah.
The goal is to not overfill things. So if you're putting just a little bit more often, or just maintaining as you need to, as opposed to going crazy and putting a ton of product in your face at one time, the likelihood of the migration, and again, good product and placed properly, the likelihood of migration is far less. But you do see some people who come in who need their faces deflated or dissolved because product has gone elsewhere. One of the most common areas for that to happen is the lips. When you start to see people have really thick upper lips between their lip and their nose. Yeah. And that's because the filler is actually going from their lip up into the tissue of the upper lip. Right. And so it creates this optical illusion where it's you can see it, it's very real, where it protrudes and it just doesn't look right. Yeah. So that can happen anywhere filler is placed. Right. So we see that often as well in poorly done under eyes, or under eyes that really should have been a cheek lift and not an under eye. Yeah. Because the product will actually shift and just come down. Yeah. So again, 1 syringe of filler is such a small amount of volume, so you're not really, there's not as much of a risk. Yeah. If we put 5 syringes of filler in your face, I would say, yeah, probably that would happen at some point. Yeah. But that's not what you need. You literally just need a little touch up. Yeah. You just need a little bit of volume. Anything left over, we're gonna pop right in here, just to kind of help lift up that triangle. And that's it. So it's a non-issue for you.
Are we doing 2 syringes?
We're going to start with 1 first.
Okay.
And because you see about 80% of the outcome immediately, we can kind of gauge based on how you're feeling, how you're looking, whether or not you need more. I think you're only going to need 1, but we'll see. Okay. You just need a little touch up.
A little bit of hydration. Good to me. Yeah. I trust you.
Now Jess just goes in and massages the product into the skin to make sure that there are no lumps and bumps and everything is where it should be. Putting the filler in is very minimally painful. The weirdest part about it is that you can hear some crackling sounds, so you just have to get over that. But the procedure itself and its recovery when you're not using a ton of product is unbelievably minor. Like, I mean, I don't have any downtime at all.
Oh, it looks great.
Right?
Yeah, it looks amazing. It looks amazing. It's so much better.
Yeah, it's smoother. So your nasolabial folds have lifted. Yeah. And then we just contoured your cheeks a bit more, which is exactly what we wanted.
You're like an artist, Jess, because you make it like so flattering, but not like pillow facey.
No.
You know?
And that's where, we stop at the right amounts, right? So we don't need to be putting more product in there. I'd rather see you more often for small amounts than just jamming a bunch of product in at one time.
Totally.
It's perfect.
Oh, it looks great. Wow, I feel so much better. And look how much smoother look at my wrinkles under here. They're so much better now.
No, and it's not the Botox kicking in right away.
No, unfortunately not. I gotta make my face exercise now. Yeah. I do that when I drive home. I'm like this. Like, people must think I'm crazy.
It's good though, because you're compliant, you follow instruction.
So as you guys saw, that was pretty simple. This is how my face looks now. Obviously, Botox takes about 2 weeks to kick in. There's the filler. I'm just in my car after driving home. My face isn't sore or anything, not even when I smile. A little bit sore, like right here, but hardly.
So now it's been 3 whole months. I really wanted you guys to see what happens over time. The Dysport is pretty much gone now, so in about a month or so, I'll likely go get it touched up again. But the filler itself, I won't do again until about a year to 18 months, depending on how it looks and how my face changes. The purpose of this video is not to make you feel like you have to do this, or like this is the only path towards looking and feeling your best. There are lots of other options, including completely non-invasive options for you that can help your skin look and feel better. This is just what works for me and gives me the biggest result, but it is your life, your body, and your choices. I respect you, and I hope that you can show me that same respect in the comment section. I really do love being open with you guys as my community. It makes things feel a lot less taboo, and I want you to know that I am human, right? I am human with insecurities too, and I get things done as well. If you feel comfortable, let me know in the comment section below what you get done, how often you do it. It'd be really cool to have like a girl-to-girl conversation down there about all the different procedures that are coming out, things we've tried, things we haven't tried, things that have gone wrong, things that have gone right. I've had procedures done that have gone wrong. If you want me to make a video about that, it was not done by Jess, by the way, but if you want me to make a video about that, I definitely will. This video's over.